the power of compounding is amazing. And if you understand a J curve, it starts really, 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 really slow, and then it shoots up. And although that 10% or whatever that number is going to seem like a little bit at the beginning, if you consistently do that, at some point your profits are going to boost exponentially.
Welcome everyone to Listening Now with Akil Stokes. I had him back on the podcast a few years ago. I think it's been a couple of years for sure. Good to have you back, Akil. Welcome back again, and looking forward to stop trading with you again.
Thank you, man. Great to be here. Excited to talk.
Awesome. Tell me a bit more about kind of what's been going on since we last spoke. I think it's been at least like 3 or 4 years from now.
Yeah, it's been a little bit. Still trying to grow and develop as a trader. I think the trading process, the trading journey, I guess you should say, it's a growth journey where the markets are always doing something a little bit different. You're always trying to improve yourself. So on the personal end with my trading, just trying to improve by small bits each and every day, each and every year. At the same time, trying to build the platform and just become a better coach and a better mentor for the traders that I work with.
In terms of strategies, have things changed at all since the past few years? Did you tweak some entries or some trades or something like that? Or is it like the same stuff as you've always traded?
So the common core is still the same. So I'm still a price action trader. The centerpiece of my trading philosophy is support and resistance. So that kind of, plays a major role in all of my decision making as far as entry stops and targets. But what I have been working on, especially over the last, I would say 5 years or so, is getting better with the predictive process, especially when it comes to target taking. Something that I found early on in my career is that I spent so much time worrying about the entry, the signal. And as I get older as a trader, I come to realize that, yes, it's important. You need to know when to get into the trade. You need specific rules that kind of keep you out of trouble and get you into the situations that you want to be in. But picking and predicting the right target level is very important as well. And what I found myself doing is that I would consistently make the right calls, but I'd be a little bit off on my target taking. And because of that, I wouldn't make any money in the market. So becoming better at that predictive process of predicting, hey, if I'm right, where is price likely to go has helped massively. So I focused a lot of my energy on that. I have dug a lot back into indicators as well, and just kind of the journey of creating like an indicator-based system, which is fun for me.
Tell me about that move from price action to indicators. Do you feel like it's helping you kind of get more, I guess, objective entries, or what does that allow you to do?
Well, I'm looking for something dummy proof, something where I don't have to think as much. And as I get older as a trader, I'm trying to figure out how to spend less time in the market. When I was really young and I was on the lower time frames, and I'm excited, I got all this time, and I can stare at the chart for hours. But as I get older, I have kids. I want to do more with my kids. I want to enjoy my free time a little bit more. I want to become less active as a trader. I know it sounds bad, right? I want to become less active as a trader, but get the same results. And my ultimate goal has always been create a simple strategy on the daily time frame that will literally, just need me to commit a few minutes today, a day where I can come in, I can see what I need to see, and I can get out of it, and have that be it for my trading. And having an indicator-based system seems like the right fit for that. It's as simple as can be. And then from a teaching perspective, right, it's a lot easier to teach the traders that I'm working with, like, hey, here are rules X, Y, and Z, simple, straightforward for you guys that are very busy. Go ahead and trade it. Obviously, test it, tweak it, and make it your own. I think something very simple like that would be awesome. And it's just a fun journey to be on, since I started off with indicators in the beginning of my trading career, went to price action, kind of was fully against indicators. And now that I understand the markets and understand price more, I understand the indicators better and the role that they play.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. Especially daily charts. I moved to daily charts end of last year. So I'm only doing daily charts now. Have you moved from like lower time frame, or how do you kind of manage this out now?
So I'm still on, middle time frame. So I stopped day trading back in, 2020. So during COVID. And so I focus mainly on the 4-hour and hourly time frames. My higher time frame is daily, so I still look at that to start my day to get a kind of a lay of the land. But as far as my trading executions, 4-hour, mainly 1-hour some as well. So it's that good mix between being slightly active, but having enough free time where I don't have to kind of be present all the time in front of my charts. I typically know when a signal is going to come, hours, if not days in advance, which allows me to have a lot of freedom in my routine.
Do you feel like the mistakes that people come to you with now are different than what they were like 5 or 10 years ago, or is it the same mistake people keep repeating from over and over?
It's funny. It's the same thing. It's mostly psychology. It's also mostly, I guess, the the predetermined thoughts they have about what trading is, how easy it's going to be, and what it takes to be successful. And that's because the same junk is still out there on the internet. It's disguised in different ways, so it's not maybe as blatant as it was back when we first started trading. But it's the same get rich quick type of stuff. Here's a magic system, magic strategy, and people fall in love with that because that's what they want to hear. So I get a lot of traders that want the quick fix, that are only worried about this, that disregard trading psychology and not understanding that, yes, you can have the best system in the world, but if you can't mentally execute it day in and day out, it's pointless, or execute it without error day in and day out, it's pointless. So we still see many of those common errors, and it's the same old fix, just they come in slightly different ways.
Tell me how you discovered trading psychology back in the days. Like that's probably many years ago, but how did you come across the fact that you had to work on your mindset to become successful in trading?
I came across trading psychology and learned the importance basically by being bad. I was bad and I couldn't figure out why. And like many new traders, I blamed everyone else. I blamed my mentor, my coach, the markets, the weather, the computer, the trading platform, until I ran out of people to blame. And it was like, man, it's me. And I remember when I ran out of people to blame, I did an evaluation at the end of my year. And basically and my mentors and coaches were telling me this the whole time, but I didn't want to believe them. I was the same young, dumb trader that I'm dealing with now. But I did a comparison. I said, okay, well, they're telling me just execute the plan, do this, do that, follow your edge, and blah, blah, blah. I looked at all my trading results and what I actually did. And then I went back to all my trades and looked at the results of what I should have done if I did everything correctly. And then it popped out to me. It said, man, like, you are trading a profitable system and strategy. You have the ability to identify trades the right way. You just keep messing up every time you do it. And that was kind of the light bulb for me, where it was like, man, it is me. It kind of hit hard. Like, I am the one messing this up. I need to focus on not sabotaging myself. And if I can do that, everything else will fall into place. So it was just, it was a harsh reality check, I guess you can say, which are the best lessons. A lot of pain will bring change often.
Yeah, do you feel like traders need to go through that pain to learn about psychology and mindset, or can they just not have any pain and learn that stuff?
I think you need to learn it. I think it's we're very similar to children. I'm seeing a lot of similarities in coaching, trading, and raising children, where you can tell them many times, but sometimes you just have to go through it for yourself to really feel that pain. Pain and pleasure are both major motivators. Pain is a bigger motivator than pleasure. And we can give all the warnings in the world, but it's that self-discovery, right? You have to touch the hot stove to realize, like, ooh, this is hot and I shouldn't do it again. So traders have to go through it. I think in our role as coaches, I think where we're valuable is this, where myself, I had to, I was the dummy that would make the same mistake 10 times in a row and be like, oh, I'm just going to try it for the 11th time and see if it works. I think the difference is now we can tell them, like, hey, don't do this, you should focus on this. They'll still try it because they have to go through that process. But hopefully after the first time, they're like, I see what you're saying now. That's why I shouldn't do it. So I think newer traders are still going to make mistakes, but the goal is to make less mistakes or not make the same mistake multiple times. And you can save time and money that way instead of doing the same thing 11 times and then trying again for the 12th, thinking you're going to have a different result.
Tell me about what you recommend traders who want to, of course, they might want to get full-time with their trading eventually, but how do they scale up capital? Do they go for prop firms? Do they go and kind of build a capital on their own? What do you suggest them to focus on for that growth phase in their trading?
So everyone's a little bit different. We deal with some very high-end clients who have done very well in their life, and they have enough where once they're good at trading, they can go full-time if they want. We deal with some clients that, have nothing. They barely have enough to start an account, but they understand that if they learn the skill of trading, that could be a way to develop and grow their income. So I think prop firms are a great method. If that was something that I had when I first started trading, that's certainly the route I would have taken. I went the old money management route where I would cold call people and then try to sell myself on why I should manage their money, and dealt with a lot of no's and doors shut in my face in depressing times. And that was not fun at all. I would much rather be able to kind of make money with my skill of trading without interacting with people. So I think prop firms are a great route. I just think you have to be very careful out there. Like many things, there's a small minority of really good prop firms that you can be with, but there's also a lot of junk out there. There's a lot of prop firms that are scams. There's a lot of prop firms that don't really want you to succeed as a trader. They just want to collect that challenge fee from you over and over again. There's a lot of prop firms that actually don't give payouts. They give like credits and stuff like that, which may not be something you want. A lot of prop firms that have challenges that just aren't realistic. So like anything, you got to do your research and dig through the dirt to find the gold. But I think for someone that wants to build their capital, the two best ways are this. One, hold up two fingers. One, just worry about focus on your personal finances. Understand that trading is a long-term goal. You could do something where it's like, hey, 5 years from now, I want to be able to trade full time. So I'm going to pick up an extra job, extra hours. I'm going to eliminate debt and slowly build my trading account so that 5 years from now, I'll have enough to maybe limit and reduce the hours at my job and then slowly kind of build that into going full time over years. Or, do the prop firm thing and then use other people's money to help make you money and continue to boost your account that way while growing your account on your own on the back end. So I think those are two great methods to building your account as a trader that wants to go full time.
Interesting. At the same time, this is a tough question. How do you know when you're good enough to go for either like a prop firm or investors to kind of scale things up? Like, do you know, will you definitely know when you're good enough to do it? Or do you have to kind of build a track record and have some months of consistency, or what do you look for in that?
Well, for me personally, and this was a tough thing for me because I never wanted to accept that I was good enough. And I don't know if that's the competitor in me or I just didn't want to believe it because everyone said you couldn't be successful. So I told myself that after a year of good trading, and good trading was two things. It was one where I had the majority of good trades, meaning trades where I didn't sabotage myself. I followed my plan 100%. And I made profit. I told myself, if I can do that for a full year, then I can maybe accept the fact that I was a good trader. Now, I still didn't accept it because I heard so many war stories about traders that have been good for 2, 3, 4, or 5 years and then blew it all. So I was still a little bit scared. And I think that was a good thing because that keeps me focused. It keeps me from like slacking and messing up. But at some point, you just got to take the leap. It's like anything else in life. Like, very rarely in life when we're doing something different, something new, accepting a new challenge, do we think we're ready. We just have to be prepared enough, and we have to just kind of jump off the cliff and go for it and hope that we're willing to succeed. As far as the prop firm goes, and this is the cool thing about trading, is we can simulate it, right? So if you have a specific goal in mind, or if you have a specific prop firm in mind, you can understand and know what their challenge rules are, what their expectations are. And you can put yourself in an environment, whether it's live or demo, where you simulate that challenge, where you say, hey, I'm going to take from November till January, and I'm going to trade the same way I would trade if I were doing for this prop firm challenge. And you can look at the results and compare. And you can see, hey, this was good enough. This wasn't good enough. Maybe I need to do another 3 months to kind of iron some things out. Or man, maybe I did well. I should hop in. So I think that's the best way to do it. Once you feel like you're a successful trader, like you're a consistently profitable trader, put yourself in the position to simulate that challenge or whatever your expectations are from the market. Give yourself that 3 month, 6 month time period, whatever it may be, and then see if you're good enough, right? It's like an evaluation period.
I mean, this is taking the realistic approach to the approach that definitely makes sense based of the math and the stats you get to. I know a lot of people wouldn't want to do this for sure, but it's definitely the right thing to do in most cases. What do you tell people who kind of are in a hurry to get results? Like they want to get to their goals faster. They want to make like 10% this month, 20% this month. What do you tell them to kind of put them back into realistic expectations?
Oh, I would tell them that if you're in a rush to make results, you're probably going to be in a rush to go broke. Because again, going back to trading psychology, most trading mistakes come because you're messing up, and you're messing up because you have some type of unrealistic expectation. And man, it hurts me so much. I've seen so many traders that are good, right, by anyone else's standards, but because they have this inflated goal where it's like, man, I need to make 20% a month, they start doing different stuff, right? I had a trader I work with who made like a 10% month, which I'm like, man, that's amazing. That's great month. He's like, yeah, but I want to make 20. So he started messing up his strategy that was making him 10%. He ended up losing money because he got greedy with targets. He got, he was rolling stops back to stay in trades. He was entering trades he wasn't supposed to be in, all because that 10% wasn't enough. So I try to tell people, and I say literally map it out on like an Excel spreadsheet or a graph, right? The power of compounding is amazing. And if you understand a J curve, it starts really, 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 really slow, and then it shoots up. And although that 10% or whatever that number is going to seem like a little bit at the beginning, if you consistently do that, at some point your profits are going to boost exponentially. But you just have to wait out that period of time before it gets there. So be happy with your profits, right? Something is always better than nothing. And, don't throw away something good for the hope of something great that probably isn't achievable.
I know back a few years ago you were trading Forex only. Did you expand it to other markets, or are you still sticking to Forex?
Still Forex only. I always want to get back in the stock market because I started in the stock market. I have a love for the stock market. But just with the teaching going on, there's just not enough bandwidth to focus on both. So it's still a bigger picture goal. And I think as I don't want to say ease out of Forex, but as I spend less active time in the market, that's going to open up more mental energy to get back in the stock market. But right now, still Forex, still teaching. But I will get back into stocks and commodities at some point. I can tell you that. It may not be from a trading perspective, but probably back into like a short-term investor's perspective, which is how I started off.
Do you feel that Forex changed over the past few years? I mean, the first time we spoke is in 2016 or so. Has things become different since then, or is it still the same?
I would say it's still the same. It's much different than when I first started trading. So I first started trading in 2007. I would say from 2007 probably to about maybe 2012, and that's going through the whole U.S. recession and everything like that. Things were dramatically different. I think Forex was very similar to how crypto was years ago, where it was new, it was flashy. Retail traders were able to trade it for the first time. So there's a flood of newbies in there, and it's exciting. And then it kind of matured and mellowed out. And we've gone through times of low volatility, high volatility, but it's been pretty steady since probably like 2012 to now. And I've noticed that with many markets is like, whether it's, the binary options fad or crypto is when they first start off, it's so exciting. It's like a new kid. It's full of energy. It's very directional. It has these massive swings. And then once kind of the get rich quicker traders, I guess, are weeded out, it kind of steadies off and becomes more of a normal flowing market. And we're seeing that with crypto right now as well. So Forex is still the same. The volatility was sucked dry a little bit going into this year. It started to pick up on certain pairs recently. But yeah, it's still the same. And I kind of like it this way.
Interesting. I've always said something different, but what makes you like it in this current kind of market where it's like more slow and less volatility, I guess?
Well, maybe not that. Well, not this, speaking of today, maybe not this specific market over like the last couple months, because it's been really slow lately. So I don't really like that. But for me, I like consistency. So I don't like big dramatic swings. So like I remember the last week, here's a good example, right? Because we may be facing this again. Would have been 8 years ago now, whenever Trump was president for the first time, we would see massive, dramatic, out of the norm swings because he was the first president that was very vocal on like social media or would say stuff that didn't go through like a PR person who wrote the speech for him. Trump kind of says what he wants, and sometimes it's factual, sometimes it's not factual, and the markets go crazy because of that. And that introduced a lot of inconsistencies because you can have a classic pattern setting up which should do a certain thing. Then all of a sudden, boom, the markets take off on like a 100 pip rally. And you're like, why? And it's like, oh, the president came out and said something, or this was that and this was that. And then it goes back to normal. And for someone that relies on a rules-based trading strategy where it's, we're consistently looking for the same things and we're playing an edge, it kind of messes things up. So, I don't like low volatility because low volatility doesn't offer opportunities. But when the market has a steady kind of normal-ish flow, whatever normal is, it makes the price action patterns very predictable, and that makes me profit. So I like volatility, but not kind of the sporadic. And I guess even recently we've had that with all the monetary policy changes where every economic, event that comes out. Oh, they're going to cut by this much. They're going to cut by that much, like we had earlier in the year. That's not great for the market as well because everyone's panicking. But I do like a kind of a smooth flow to it.
Yeah, some kind of balance there is a good idea for sure. Sounds good. Tell me about what a day looks like in your life as a trader. What kind of habits do you have? What do you kind of focus on? Because you could do it with like you spend all you did at the charts and like do only that, or you could do it with like you kind of live your life and do other stuff at the same time. So tell me about how you balance your time with trading as well.
Yeah, so I try to spend as little time as possible in front of the markets, and over the last probably 5-8 years, I've worked a lot on being more efficient, more productive, just in my daily life. Right, I do a lot. I trade. I coach traders. I coach track and field. So there's a lot of busy time there, and I was feeling I was spending 24 hours a day just always doing something. So I've been really focusing on being more efficient with my time, and that's worked over into my trading career as well. So I have a normal wake up time. I do my top down analysis. I still do my active live trading in my live trading room. But I try to be aware of what's happening in the market well in advance. That way I don't have to spend too much time doing it. And when you trade, when you have a consistent routine and you do your analysis at the same time each day, when you have a consistent set of pairs that I trade, I start to know the market pretty well. So I can really, and experience, I guess, helps with this too. I can see things well in advance. So I'm never waking up to the markets unless there's some type of crazy news event that came out overnight and I'm caught by surprise. I kind of have an idea of what's going to happen. I'm prepared. I know how I'm going to handle it or how I'm not going to handle it. And because of that, I don't have to kind of sit at my charts for a long time. Just to give you an example, I would say my top-down analysis in the morning to prepare for my trading day at this point probably takes about a half an hour at most. I'm clicking through. It's either yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, and then I'm gone. But I still try to take breaks. So I typically am active on the charts from, I'll do my top down analysis probably like 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm done my live trading room by 9:30, and I always try to take a break. I need to take a reset, right? Either it's get away, it's go run, hop on a bike. Go to the weight room, do something active to kind of get away from the market and use that as a chance to de-stress, but also kind of uncloud my mind. That way, when I come back in the afternoon, if I want to peek at something on the charts, I'm not cluttered and tired and exhausted. It's kind of like another fresh look, and I can do another 10, 15 minutes of looking around to see if there's anything else there. Usually after the afternoon, my trading day is done. Very rarely do I get a lot of signals that I need to be actively in front of my chart for in the afternoon. So that's time to go coach track and field. That's time to spend with family and do whatnot. So, my day is there's a lot of freedom. It's kind of heavily banked, my work in the beginning of the day. But I'm a morning person anyway, so I prefer that.
Do you have a specific review time where you go back to your trades or go back to your journal, or how do you manage that?
Yeah, so I try to review if a trade is complete. I try to review right away. That way all the emotions and the ideas are kind of fresh in my head. But if that's not the case, I always do a review process at night. So usually it's either right before or right after I put my kids to bed, depending on what time they're getting home that day from whatever practices they're at. But at the end of the day, I review, I take notes of everything. I spend a little bit of, I call it sandbox time, where I just open up a random chart and just be curious, be creative, and just look for different things in the market. Kind of like, imagine it's like a workout in the market, just trying to stay fresh. But yeah, I do that review process every day, whether it's reviewing trades that were taken and writing them in the journal and taking notes, or whether it's just reviewing what the market did, meaning I saw something in the morning, I come back at night, oh, what did the market do? Why did it respond at that level? Taking notes and just kind of, again, trying to grow as a trader from a technical perspective on a regular basis.
I think it's important to also, like you said, like grow and see different things, because you kind of get to a routine as a trader of like setups you look for and the pairs you trade always. And then if you don't do something outside of that, it's kind of, you just like do the same thing forever. And it's kind of a little bit boring, but also you don't really evolve and become better. So tell me about how do you kind of manage that growth as a trader when you're already profitable?
Yeah, so it's like you said, it's if things can get stale, things can get boring, you can get kind of locked into a routine, which is good, but it's like you said, doesn't allow you to grow. Something I do every year is I dedicate a certain period. We're going to have that probably in about 3 weeks, usually right after Thanksgiving here in the States. I do that is I dedicate a period to continued education. So Very rarely do I get to work on myself, which is a negative, but it's the price of coaching. It's a give and a take. But from really, let's say, beginning of December till about the second week of January, so like a 5-6 week period, is my period of continued education. So each year I give myself a project, right? Aside from an annual review, it's either, read a new book. It is take a training course. It is do some strategy development. So last year I read a book, right? And just something that I was unfamiliar with and something that just allowed me to kind of understand a new concept. I did that 2 years ago as well. And it was something that I actually ended up using in my trading, which was delightful. This year, it's going to be strategy development, where I'm going to try to build a strategy. I already have some ideas of what I want to test, but I'm going to spend those 5 weeks attempting to build a strategy and see if I can get something profitable. And I've done this before. And the cool thing is, sometimes I'm able to create something that is awesome. Sometimes it fails miserably, but each year I'm able to learn something because something in that process works, whether it's like, hey, the target taking method that I experimented with, that works, but everything else sucks. Or whether it's like, hey, this entry method was good, I just couldn't get the risk reward to be in my favor. And little things like that find their way into my trading at some point. So I always look at the strategy development period. Even if the bigger picture strategy doesn't work, there's probably some aspect of it that was positive, or maybe you stumble across an indicator that you've never used before that now kind of can play a role in your trading, which is pretty cool.
I love that. I think that makes a big difference for sure for any trader at any level. Going back to the guys who are trying to get profitable, but like a few years maybe before that, these guys might feel overwhelmed with like all the stuff out there. There's like so many YouTubers, so many like influencers who talk about like what to do, what to focus on, what strategies to trade, what book to read. How do you think kind of get a sense of what to do and kind of make it happen to get profitable? What will be like a short list of steps people have to go through to make it happen?
It's tough. There are some really good YouTubers out there. There's really good influencers. There's really good podcasters out there. But just like the prop firm situation, there's a lot of fluff as well. And it's very hard to weed your way through that. I would say that traders have to invest time in really kind of giving energy to specific people and kind of vetting them. I would say this, if it sounds too good to be true, it usually is. So if you watch someone for, 4 or 5 episodes or 4 or 5 videos like that, and it just seems kind of like you can kind of smell fake or smell scammy. If it seems like that, you probably want to venture somewhere else. At the same time, if you find someone that sounds truthful, or maybe they trade in a way that kind of clicks with how you want to trade, whether it's fundamental or technical or mechanical or price action based. Follow those people and then learn more and see if that's the style that meets you. I would say podcasters are great as well. One of the things that's great about your podcast is you've interviewed so many traders that it gives you a chance to really kind of watch the traders that you interview, hear their answers and kind of be like, hey, does this trader seem like they're truthful? Does it seem like they're preaching the right things, or are they a little bit iffy? And then you can go ahead and find them on their platforms and follow them and kind of dig in deeper. But unfortunately, there's no, formula to telling if someone is real or fake or good or bad. You just kind of have to invest time in them and kind of get a sense. And if you have the opportunity, if they're available on social media or through email, talk to them, ask them questions, right? Ask them the questions that you want to know and pay attention to their answers. And their answers will typically tell you a lot about their values and what they stand for.
Yeah, good point. But also just the trading style. There's so many trading styles out there that you could do day trading, you could do scalping, you could do like swing trading, you could be also investing. After you went through all these different styles, did you have to try them out to figure out what worked for you, or did you just kind of pick one and focus on it?
So I started by doing this, and this is the advice that I give traders. Think about what you want your life to be. Think about what fits into your life first, right? Because at first, for most people, the majority of people, I quit 3 jobs to focus on trading, which is the dumbest thing ever, but it worked for me. It worked for me. I don't advise anyone to do that. But I was overconfident, and that's just a weird thing I do to make stuff work because I put my back against the wall. But in most cases, right, you're introducing trading into an already busy life. So you already have a life that you're doing. You already have a job, a family, commitments, whatever it is. So the first thing I would say is what fits around your life, right? can you be a day trader, right? If you're going to be a day trader, you need to have a certain amount of hours that you can block out to looking at the markets, right? If you're working a full-time 9 to 5, you may not have that period, or maybe you have it in the morning, but maybe you don't want to wake up early, right? So find out what is the best fit for you and then find that style. If you don't have a lot of free time during the day, I had a friend of mine that was a truck driver, and he's like, man, like I don't get a lot of time at all. I'm always on the road, but I would love something that I can just check the charts like once a day and be on my way. And I'm like, well, you're probably going to need a daily based strategy, right? The daily strategy, you have that time during the Asia session where it's a little bit slow. You don't have to worry about too much. You have time to check it once a day, look for your signal, take it, don't take it, and then get back on the road and not have to worry about it. And this was a trader that tried day trading before. And he was like, well, because of my schedule, I can day trade like Monday, but then I can't do it again until like Thursday. And then I can't do it again until next Tuesday. And I'm like, well, there's no consistency there, right? So, you need to find a different method. So sometimes there are things that we want to do, like we want to be a day trader. We want the action. A lot of new traders want action, but you got to work it around your life, because unless you're doing the dumb thing that Akil did and you're quitting all your jobs, which you should not do, right? Disclaimer. You have to introduce trading around your normal life first. And then once you get good at it, or if you go full time, then you can make adjustments after that.
You gotta tell us that story though, after you quit, and maybe what lessons you got away from it too.
Oh yeah, it was man, not the smartest idea, but I was working 3 jobs. I was trading, and I wasn't dedicating time to trading because I didn't really have any urgency. I was working 3 jobs. I was making good money at the time. Before I was married. I was single before inflation took prices through the roofs. So like I would trade, I would lose money and be like, I got a good paycheck coming in. I'll just, fund the account again. And I was kind of spinning on the hamster wheel, not going anywhere, not taking it seriously. And then it finally got to the point where I had a hard conversation about myself. Like, I got to take it seriously. I started getting tired with the 3 jobs I was doing. I said, you know what? I'm going to quit. I'm going to go full time. Now, I thought I'd figure it out in a year, less than a year. I thought a year max. So I did save enough money to kind of survive for a year and make it. Again, bad choice, stupid idea. But the positive for me, and this is the competitive drive, that I'm an athlete that likes game time situations. So like if the clock's running down, like give me the ball. Like I want to be the one that scores. So when I had that urgency of like, oh crap, like I have to make this work or I'm going to fail, it allowed me to do the things I needed to do to become successful. And I promise you, I wouldn't have done those if I didn't have kind of that like you're running out of time back against the wall type of situation. So it works for me. That's just, again, crazy athlete brain that I have, but definitely don't advise it for anyone else.
Tell me where people can find you and connect with you after this podcast.
Yeah, so I'm all over social media. I'm on YouTube channel, just YouTube search Akil Stokes or Instagram, Akil Stokes RTM. We have a website, www.tier1trading.com. It's a educational resource, all types of resources for traders. We have coaching services, we have training videos, we have kind of supportive services as well, like live rooms, Q&As, accountability sessions. We do workshops all the time. It's kind of an all-in-one type of deal. So it's not like one of those, hey, pay for this, pay for that. It's like if you're coming in, you get everything, and we work with you as traders and try to help you become successful. That's our goal. We don't do a lot of promo because we want to kind of only work with a certain type of trader. When you do all the kind of promo stuff, sometimes you attract people that aren't really serious. But we've been doing this for many, 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 many years. We're really good, and we've had some really awesome success stories, which is cool, and it reminds you of kind of why you do this type of stuff. So Tier 1 Trading, check it out.
I love it. We'll put a link below for that. I mean, you've been on YouTube for a long time now. I think you're one of the guys who produce the best content out there too, like really in depth and stuff, and that's awesome. So it's good to see you put good stuff out there for sure. Link to people for connecting with you, Akil. I appreciate your time here as always, answering questions and kind of going through this. Been good to connect and look forward to talk trading again next time.